All right, we're on.
All right. How you doing, everybody? Good evening. Welcome to Diving In with Dom Scala here, down in my basement here, my memorabilia room here. Hey, listen, I'm very excited for our second show. We're going to have a great show tonight. I have two great guests, Ray Negron from the New York Yankees and John the Count Montefusco, who was with the San Francisco Giants and also with the New York Yankees with me for several years. Let me just start this off by saying we've made some adjustments. We appreciate everybody's comments last week. We had a lot of really good feedback last week from the show. Very, very excited about this week's show. All I can say is that, I come in front of this camera here. I have the ring light. We have an iPad. We have an iPhone. I've got my memorabilia here in the basement. I've got my script. I'll tell you what, this is a dream come true for me. I really am looking forward to sharing my experiences and my good friends with you guys. Some good stories. We got some great memorabilia to show you tonight. And I'm really, really excited about the show. Nicky Crumbs, thanks a lot for being here again.
Anytime. Happy to be here.
All right, man. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
You're doing a great job.
Let's talk about last week.
Yeah, listen.
Or 2 weeks ago, I should say.
2 weeks ago, we had Bucky Dent. Bucky Dent, good friend of mine, came on the show for our inaugural show. We dove deep with Bucky into some great stories with George Steinbrenner, stories about when he was traded, so many things when we were Yankees together. And people like to hear about that stuff. And Bucky did a fantastic job. And it was great hearing from the people, all my friends out there, that really made some great comments about it. And I really appreciate it. And then the following night, I've been the chair at Adelphi University for our annual fundraiser. It's our biggest fundraiser of the year, in which I bring a Yankee in every year. Last year, before this year's virtual that we had two Wednesdays ago, I should say, we had Brian Cashman. The year before that, we had Don Mattingly. We had Goose Gossage. We had Ron Guidry. We had so many great Yankees through the years, and we had such a great time. But let me just say this about Clint Frazier. Clint Frazier was amazing. He really was. For some of you who are out there who were not only part of my show, but then the next night came on to Zoom with Clint Frazier, he was really, really candid about last year. He told us a great story about when they sent him down, and he was really, really disappointed, but he tried to be a true Yankee, and he tried to do the right thing and not get too excited or too disappointed. But he wanted to let them know that he was going to be ready anytime that they called him back. And when they did, he was the glue. He was the guy that really set them straight. When the Twin Towers went down, when Judge and Stanton went down, if it wasn't for Clint Frazier, they wouldn't have made the playoffs. They wouldn't have went as far as they did. So that kid made himself valuable, and I give him a lot of credit, and I was really, really happy to meet him. It was the first time I spoke to him, and just a great guy, Another thing that I'd just like to talk about in my monologue here that really struck me this week, my monologue, I try to talk about different things. One of the things was, and I try to relate it to something that happened in my baseball career. Gene Michael, who I think many of you know, was a great Yankee manager, general manager, confidant of George Steinbrenner, and he was one of my mentors. Okay, he gave me really my first shot at coaching with the Yankees in 1981. And I'll never forget the conversations that we always had. But one of the things he said to me was, Dom, he says that whenever you're on TV or you're talking to a reporter, he says, try not to say anything bad about anybody because it's only going to come back to you someday. And what happened was I was listening to the news this week, and Mike Krzyzewski made a statement. Mike Krzyzewski is the famous Duke basketball coach. And he made a statement that he felt because of COVID and what's going on, that the cancellation of games and all of that, and kids getting sick, that maybe they should cancel the season. And he just happened to lose 2 games in a row, which is very, very uncharacteristic of a Duke team. So a coach from Alabama made a comment that Mike Krzyzewski was trying to bow out of the season because he lost 2 games in a row. That's what I'm talking about not saying, how can you say something like that about a great coach like Mike Krzyzewski, who is so enthralled in the student athletes and also, you know, a person that is dedicated to the game of basketball for 30 years. So I thought that was a statement that he should have kept to himself. I mean, he tried to make light of it, but, you know, you don't make light of it and try to make fun of a guy that's been in the business for 30 years. So I just wanted to make sure everybody understood that. And one more thing before we get to our next guest, our first guest, I should say. The biggest question that we had, that was always brought to my attention, and what I always had, okay, is, hey, Dom, are you guys going to be playing this year? Are you guys going to be working out this year like it was in the fall and now in the spring? Yes, we are. We are going to play as of right now. However, the biggest thing is anything can happen at any time. And that was a quote that I always had, that was circled in my book. We don't know. Those 3 words were very, very synonymous with this year. We don't know. We don't know if we're going to really play because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow with this COVID. So I just want to make sure everybody understands is that we still got a long ways to go, but we're turning the corner, okay? And the vaccines are helping us, and we're very, very happy about that. And I'm hoping to have a really, really good season this year with Adelphi baseball.
Hopefully so. All right, I think it's time to bring on our first guest of the night.
All right, Nick, that's a good idea. I think he's waiting in the wings. So we're going to talk about Ray Negron right now, one of the great humanitarians in baseball. Does it quietly with no fanfare and doesn't care if he goes unnoticed. Worked for the New York Yankees for over 4 decades and don't have enough time to list all his accomplishments, but here are a few. His first movie was in The Cotton Club with Richard Gere. He also made several other movies, and then recently he was in a movie called Bottom of the Ninth with Joe Manganiello. He also has made several children's books, one being on the New York Times bestseller list, Man of Steel. He also has wrote and directed the play Bat Boy, organizes toy drives, food drives, and now has a show with Steve Vaccaro, Reach Out on BronxNet Cable, which is seen by thousands of fans. And one more thing that he did in his life, he achieved. In 2019, he was inducted in the New York State Hall of Fame, and the list goes on and on. A jack of all trades and a master of many. I'd like to welcome New York Yankees community consultant and New York Times best-selling author, my man, Ray Negron. Ray, are you there?
Right, we're connecting.
I'm just waiting for Ray a couple of minutes. There he is. There he is.
Dominic.
Ray, you're looking good, man.
Hey, so nice to be on with you. Hey, I love being on with a legend. Okay.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Ray. Listen, you're the legend right here tonight. I know that you're usually on the end that I'm on, where you're asking, you're asking everybody questions and you're carrying the show. And I'm going to tell you something. You were my inspiration to try this, really. I mean, I've been with you for many years, 45 years, and we've done a lot of things together, but you were my inspiration to do this. I want to ask you a question there. Where do you get the energy to do all the things that you do out there?
It's just that I don't want to die. I want to keep going. If I feel that if I can continue to do what God wants me to do, I'll be around. But if I go against God's orders, because we're all messengers, Dom, well, and you know me, I'm not like an overly religious guy, but I know that there's a higher power that tells me, hey, take food here, buy here, there, this and that. And I just follow those spiritual orders that hit me. And, I do what I got to do. And like I said, Dom, if we don't do what we got to do, then we ain't going to be around because we're not needed here.
Ray, let me just say this. You're absolutely correct. I've been with you toy drives and food drives. I mean, with this COVID and everything, I commend you because, you know, you're out there, you know, you're a better person than I am. You really are, because I just want to make sure that everybody understands you're on the firing lines every day. I see you out there at a school in the Bronx or Brooklyn, or with toys and collecting toys and bringing food from one place to the other. I mean, that's just tremendous. That's just a tremendous thing. And I just want to make sure that I wanted to bring you on here so everybody knows that part of you.
Well, Lou Gehrig and George Steinbrenner said it best. We're Yankees. It's what we do.
You got it. Ray, it all started that life-changing day at Yankee Stadium. You were caught scribbling graffiti on the house that Ruth built. Take us inside the stadium and the conversation with George and how George Steinbrenner changed your life.
Number one, it wasn't a conversation. Okay, it was he said what he had to say, and I shut up. And I shook because I didn't know where I was going. Because, Dominic, you listen, we were Bronx, Brooklyn guys. We weren't really bad guys.
Right.
We just messing around.
Right.
So when he caught me and I was behind bars, it was the aspect of I really didn't belong back there, and he saw that.
So they took you downstairs, right? They took you downstairs.
You remember where the holding cells were?
Yes.
At the old Yankee Stadium, they used to have the bars there. They took me in there. They locked it up. That was the 44th precinct. And within 20 minutes after putting me in there, because this one individual, a security guy that ran the show there at the time, told Mr. Steinbrenner, there is nothing that you can do for these people.
Yes,
when he said that to him, all bets were off, because now he wanted to prove to this guy that I could become
and that's the way he was, right? Right. He wanted to, people don't realize about George. He did a lot of stuff behind the scenes that a lot of people didn't know about.
He was, Dominic, I was one of hundreds, okay, that he, in essence, gave a second chance to. Hey, in his own way, he gave you a second chance, Dominic, because it was his foresight. It was his foresight to have a bullpen catcher there at that time when that wasn't really the case. You understand? Somebody said to him, hey, we don't have another catcher because of blah, blah, blah. Well, then hire somebody, get them in there, and that's it. And next thing you know, the disco dancing catcher from the Oakland A's showed up in the Bronx, and there was the birth of...
Can't hear him.
Yeah, we're losing connection.
And that's where we met, right, Ray?
And that's when we met. Well, actually, that's not true. That's not really true. I actually met you when I was at New York Tech for a minute. And you was the star, I think, at St. John's.
Yes, correct. I was at St. John's, yes.
And I was playing shortstop. And, you know, us Bronx guys got to do some robberies here and there. And I remember robbing you of a base hit in the hole and threw you out at first base.
Very good, man. I know you were a first-round pick. People don't realize that in the supplementary draft for the Pittsburgh Pirates. I just wanted to point that out. But let me just say this to you, Ray. You wrote a play, Bat Boy.
Yes.
Right? What was the message that you wanted to make, and why did you write that and want to get it out there now that you have it out there and you make money for charity?
Because you know what, Dominic, everything that I do from the standpoint of money making, that's not my money. You understand? That's what Mr. Steinbrenner used to call found money. That's found money.
Gotcha.
And so, in essence, I'm not supposed to be with the Yankees and in baseball for 47 years. Okay? It was 7 boys that lived in my house. 7 boys. Dominic, 6 of the 7 are dead.
Yes, I know. I know, right? I know your story.
7 are dead. So suppose it was one of them that was caught instead of me. I probably wouldn't be on Earth right now.
Correct. Correct.
You know? It's just the magic of George Steinbrenner is just that if this doesn't happen, that doesn't happen, then this doesn't happen, then that doesn't happen. It's mind blowing.
And I get it. I get it. That's why you want to give back. You want to be just like George. I know. I hear that. I mentioned
Dominic. No one will ever be like George. No one.
Yeah.
No one.
Yep.
And I emphasize, he wasn't a father to me. Okay. He was an incredible friend.
Uh-huh.
He was an incredible friend. He was someone that believed in me. So in turn, I ended up believing in myself.
Well, he gave you the responsibility of watching Hal Steinbrenner, who is now the principal owner, right? Hal was like 6 years old. I remember him on the field, and you were right next to him.
You remember that? And
yeah.
Hey, Dominic, it's funny because I babysat Barry Bonds, Hal Steinbrenner, Robbie and Sandy Alomar Jr.
Great, yes.
The list goes on and on. All the kids that I used to have to babysit and kick them in the booty.
Hey, listen, Ray, I mentioned your association. I showed some pictures up there when you were coming on. Your association with many stars, okay? You have an incredible list of people that, that you're associated with. Who was the most influential to you in your endeavors? You've been in movies, you've been in plays, you've been all over the place. Who do you think was some of your greatest people there? You tell us about it.
The number one impact, and I get emotional, is Frank Sinatra.
Okay. I thought Frank Sinatra was one of them.
And that was because I once said to Billy Martin, I was having a really bad day because of an individual that worked at Yankee Stadium that kept telling me that I didn't belong there, that I should know my place. People like you don't belong here. And so when Billy Martin caught me crying, and he asked me what was wrong, and I told him, and then I said, I said to him, why wasn't I born white, man? Why wasn't I born white? And he just went crazy on me. And a couple of nights later, we ended up at Patsy's having dinner with Mr. Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., and a couple of others.
Wow.
And,
wow.
And there, Billy told Mr. Sinatra what I had said. And Mr. Sinatra, verbally beat me to a pulp, that the owners are still alive. And they talk about that to this day. They even keep a picture of our meeting that day, and it was the most important words that anyone pretty much had said to me other than George Steinbrenner. And it's just, he always told me, you must be proud of who you are. No matter what you have to be proud of your heritage. Your people did as much as anybody else in this country and in this world, and be proud. And
that hits home.
I'm grateful,
That hits home. Hey, what about Richard Gere? Richard Gere, I remember sitting at my table at your wedding.
Richard is a wonderful, wonderful friend. Richard, I met in the movie The Cotton Club.
Yeah.
And him and another guy by the name of Gregory Hines, we were like the three Stooges during our filming, because they became close to me because I worked for George Steinbrenner. How about that?
Right.
And so they would ask me questions about George, about Reggie, so it was like they couldn't wait for me to get on the set every day. And 30 some odd years later, me and Richard are extremely close. Gregory Hines, who was one of the great entertainers and dancers of all time, unfortunately died of cancer some years ago, and he was a wonderful individual. Wonderful.
So let me ask you this, Ray. Thurman Munson, our friend Thurman Munson, who was just a great Yankee and a great friend. I mean, I was very close, as you know, with Thurman. but you were even closer. You did a lot of things for him and his family. And that's what the play Bat Boy is pretty much about. Am I correct?
That Bat Boy is...
You're getting emotional. I see that, buddy.
It gives home.
That's because you got a heart. You have a big heart, my friend.
Well, it's just that, you know, Dominic, we've never gotten over Thurman. You know that.
Yep.
And it's the only thing that I can do to pay respect to a man that was just so good. And he's the one that taught me that you don't need to be thanked. You don't need to, what do you call it? He just did his thing and did it and moved on. You know, he did his thing, moved on. And no one ever knew what he did for kids. No one. Did you know how much he did for kids, Tom?
No, I don't know, but I do remember some things he did. I just don't know how much.
Nobody knew. Nobody knew except his wife. Okay? No one knew except his wife. Okay? And she knew, I knew, because I used to drive Thurman to wherever. Hey, I used to drive him to Teterboro Airport so that he could fly home and be with the family. And I was very, very happy to do it because here, teenage Puerto Rico with a brand new Cadillac, and it was Thurman Munson's car.
Yes, you used to use his car when he was out, right?
You better believe it. I picked up a lot of girls because of that car.
Well, let me tell you something, Ray. In my eyes, there should be a show. Everybody loves Ray Negron. Forget about everybody loves Raymond. Everybody loves Ray Negron. That's in my mind. That's the show we should have. And I just want to say, Ray, thank you so much for coming on. We're going to have you on again because there's just so much to cover with you. I didn't even scratch the surface here. But I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. God bless you, your family, your terrific family, and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I hope to see you very soon, my friend.
You're my wonderful Brooklyn Italian brother that I love with a passion.
Thank you, my man. Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on.
Always.
Have a good one. Wow. I guess I asked him some pretty good questions. I got him emotional, everybody. I'll tell you what, he's a great guy, just a great, listen, and that was no act. That's the way he is. He's all for other people, and he's very, very selfless kid. He's a guy, 64 years old, close to me. But thank you, Ray, for coming on. It was a great, great segment, and I hope everybody enjoyed that because I certainly did.
All right, it's time for our fan favorite segment, I think.
Okay, we're going to have trivia time now, Nick. How's that?
Let's do it.
Okay?
Let's tell everybody the rules.
All right, listen, guys, here's the rules. Trivia time. Last week we had a nice winner. He won one of my books. I have a book right here. Okay? If you think you have the correct answer, simply tap the question mark icon at the bottom of your screen, and we'll select the first person who answers correctly. The first correct answer will receive my book, One-on-One Baseball. Okay? And here is the question. Who is the only Major League player that has won the batting title in both the American League and the National League? Okay? So again, who is the only Major League player that has won the batting title in both the American League and the National League?
Make sure you tell them your one rule, which is...
What is that, Nick?
No Google.
No Google. That's exactly right. Please do not Google it. You should know this. It's not really a hard question. I want people to win, so I try to make the questions, very, very, very easy if I can. Okay? And we'll get back to the winner in a couple of minutes. Okay? But our next segment, we're going to go to memorabilia moment. Okay? Memorabilia moment. Now, what I like to do is I like to take a few pieces from my memorabilia room, show you, and these are pieces that I try to show you that are a little different than the average autograph on something, okay? So I'm going to show you something that's pretty interesting. Nick, would you hold this book a second, please?
Sure.
I'll take that. Okay, I'm going to show you a picture here that's pretty interesting. I don't know if you can see it here. Okay, this is a picture, the middle picture there of, let's see if we can get it over here. And you'll see a middle picture there of myself with Patty Duke and John Aston and a few other people there that I do not remember because that was over 30 years ago. Okay. And that was on the Jerry Lewis Telethon. Now, how many of you people out there remember the Jerry Lewis Telethon? Okay, back on, that was a telethon to raise money for muscular dystrophy that was on the night before Labor Day. So it was Labor Day weekend. And in looking back at this, while I was doing a little research about the Jerry Lewis Telethon, the Jerry Lewis Telethon was on for 45 years. I didn't realize that. It was on for 45 years, I think from like 1965 to 2004, I believe. And they raised over $3 billion in that time. Now, I was talking to Nick before the show. A lot of celebrities have these charity events, and they raise $1 million to $3 million in 1 or 2 nights, right, Nick?
Yeah,
right?
At least.
I mean, that's the difference of today and yesteryear. But what a great night that was. As you can see me, I used to bring bats and autographed bats and autographed baseballs on the show, and people used to bid on them, and we would use that money and give it to the association. Okay. I also used to answer phones, which was a great thing back then. My next item is you'll see here Teddy Pendergrass. Now, again, I even asked my nephew back here, who's my producer, you ever hear Teddy Pendergrass? And he said no. But you people out there that are 50 years old, 60 years old, you'll know Teddy Pendergrass was a crooner, and the women loved him, okay, back in the day. He was also with Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. Now, as you can see, I just held up a program. I got it here, that you'll see a picture of me that appears in the program. And that's me, Paul Blair, Reggie Jackson, and Chris Shambles. We went to a show in San Francisco, took a picture with him backstage, and lo and behold, my wife and I were at a concert. And what do? I'm thumbing through this program, and there's people in here like there's Dionne Warwick and Magic Johnson is in here, Larry Hagman, and what do you think? Dom Scala is in there also with Reggie Jackson and Paul Blair. Okay, so that was a great thing it was just such a great feeling for me in those days. It was really cool. And one more thing. I'm going to show you a script, and the script will say MASH. We all know the TV show, the legendary MASH, okay? Now, this script was sent to me, and all the stars on the show, Loretta Swift, Alan Alda, Mike Farrow, they all signed it to Dom, blah, blah, blah. Why? Why do I get a script? Well, one of the associate producers and a writer on the show was a good friend of mine. His name was Thad Mumford. He has since passed away, I think 2 years ago. Great guy. He was a Yankee bat boy back in the day when I was with the Yankees. And we got friendly. And we talked. And we stayed friendly through the years. So what he did was he included my name in a script. And the name was Sergeant Scala. That was my name in the script. Okay? And Sergeant Scala was someone who left his platoon, okay, he left his platoon to get some food because he loved to eat. And when he came back, all his platoon were dead, except for him. So it was like a great show. I happened to see the show one time, and I'm very, very proud of this moment. Great thing right there, man.
All right. It
Nicky,
looks
what'd
like
you think of that, Nick?
That's some pretty cool stuff.
That pretty good stuff?
I didn't know who Teddy Pendergrass was, but I definitely knew MASH. So that was pretty cool that you were.
Yeah, these are just some things that are a little different, like I said, from the average, from the average memorabilia with an autograph on it.
All right. Before we go on to our next segment, it looks like we have an answer for your trivia question.
Okay.
Little Vinny 1 answered your question with DJ LeMahieu.
DJ LeMahieu, that is correct. For the Yankee that won the batting title this year, he also won the batting title with the Colorado Rockies. Okay, finished third in the MVP voting, and we're hoping to get him back. Right? We got to hope Brian Cashman can work some things out because we definitely need DJ LeMahieu. So, little Vinny, thank you for calling in or for writing in, and you just we'll get to him at the end of the show.
Yeah,
right,
we'll
Nick?
contact you at the end of the show, Vinny, and we'll get your information and get you this book.
Yep, we'll get your information, and you'll get that book, and hopefully it'll help you out someday.
Congrats.
Okay? All right.
Just
and
about
now,
time for our next segment, our next guest, actually.
Our featured guest, and here's a guy that we've been trying to get on for a month, and I'm so happy that he's going to be our guest here tonight. Okay, and we'll talk a little bit about why right after I introduce him here. Many of you will know him immediately as the Count. He made a name for himself as a San Francisco Giant. In 1975, he was named Rookie of the Year. Then in September 1976, he joined an elite group of legends by throwing a no-hitter against the Atlanta Braves. A career record of 90 and 83 with over 1,000 strikeouts. John and I became teammates and good friends with the New York Yankees in 1983 when he came over in a trade, okay, and fulfilled his lifelong dream to become a Yankee. Take a look at this great shot of him amongst his fans. When I saw this shot, okay, I was in awe. I think it's one of the best pictures I've ever seen of any professional athlete. And that's the type of crowds, and that's the kind of aurora that John the Count Montefusco had back in San Francisco in the day. So I'd like to welcome John the Count Montefusco onto our stage right now. John, how you feeling, my friend? Are you there?
We're connecting. Hold on just a second. See if we can get with John. It says we'll be with him in a moment. Just waiting for him.
Yeah, that picture, like I told you, Nick, that was one of the reasons why I wanted John to come on here.
There you go.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
I hear him. John, how you doing, man?
I'm hurting. I'm in the rehab.
I know.
I had a back operation like 8 weeks ago, and they did a laminectomy on me on L3, L4.
I got you. Go ahead.
And it got infected, and I got what you call now osteomyelitis. It's a very painful, the most painful thing I've ever been through in my life. And I have to be on antibiotics for 6 to 8 weeks.
I know we talked about that, John. I've been trying to stay with you, through the last 6 weeks because, I want to make sure first and foremost that you were getting better. And it looks like you're on the road to recovery because I know you were hurting for a while. And I'm so happy to have you on the show because I want people to know what type of a player and person you were, back in the day. I think a lot of the older, our generation know who you are, but some of these newer generations don't know some of your accomplishments that I just read. But I just wanted to say this, John. Tell us about that picture. I told you, this is one of the questions I really want to answer. Tell us about that picture when you were in the middle of all those fans. What were your thoughts at that time?
It was amazing. I mean, I couldn't believe how many fans came to want an autograph from me. I mean, it was my first year in the big leagues, and it was just amazing that these people came, and I wish I could have gave every single one of them an autograph.
Sure.
I love the fans in San Francisco, and I tried to do whatever I could do, to put on a show out on the field. I didn't want them to have a boring game to watch.
Well, it was you at that time. I remember it was you and Mark the Bird Fidrich, who were two characters back in the day.
Bird got the publicity because he pitched against the Yankees. Correct. I was out in San Francisco and didn't get much publicity out on the East Coast.
Gotcha. Now, John, do you think, I know that you had a hip injury also, but was the back a problem for when you were pitching because of, you were pretty violent with your turn, I remember, when I was catching you back in the day. I remember you had that, you had that really, really good turn so you can get a lot of power out of your back legs and stuff like that. Was the back problem that you're having now sort of like a prerequisite of back then?
No, the only thing that bothered me when I pitched was my hip, because I really drove off the mound and really reached out and jammed that front leg into the ground, and it was the leg going up into the hip, which was really, it ended up being devastating for me. It cost me 6 or 7 years in the big leagues.
Wow, that is devastating. You're right. John,
I mean, I pitched the last 5 or 6 years in excruciating pain.
No kidding.
That's because I was making good money and I got traded to the Yankees.
Right. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. Who gave you your nickname? Who gave you the nickname, The Count?
Al Michaels.
Al Michaels from ABC at the time.
Al Michaels was when I was with the Giants, he was our radio TV guy. That's where he started.
Okay.
And in my debut, I was told I wouldn't pitch against the Dodgers or the Cincinnati Reds. And so I flew into Dodger Stadium. The Giants were playing the Dodgers. And, I got to see my name on the back of a uniform, number 50. And Wes Westrum calls me into the office and he says, "You'll be our first guy out of the bullpen tonight." And here I thought I'd never pitch against the Dodgers. And anyway, Ronnie Bryant started the game. We got 2 runs in the top of the first, and he couldn't get anybody out. He walked like 5 guys. He hit a couple of guys, a base hit here and there. And the next thing I know, I'm getting up in the bullpen, and I throw about 10 pitches, not 1 strike, and they're calling me into the game. We're behind 3-2. The bases are loaded, and nobody are out in the first inning. And as they call me into the game, I'm walking out of the bullpen into right field, and I am scared to death, and I'm telling myself, turn around and go back. That's God's honest truth. I'm telling myself, turn around and go back. Anyway, I got to the mound, and I told Wes Westrum, I said, "I guess you need like some strikeouts." He says, "Kid, just don't walk anybody." Paciorek was the first guy I faced, and right. I threw a strike, and then I threw 3 balls, and then on the next pitch, I was begging God, I says, "Please let this be a strike." And I threw him a batting practice fastball, and he hit a ground ball to third for a force out. I struck out 2 guys to get out of the inning, and an inning later, I got up, and the first pitch by Charlie Huff, I hit out for a home run.
Right, I know. I was going to get to that in your first game that you ever pitched, you hit a home run. Let me ask you this, John. Your no-hitter, you pitched a no-hitter, and you were Rookie of the Year. Which was more thrilling to you?
Oh, the no-hitter, without a doubt. I mean, I didn't even think about becoming Rookie of the Year. It wasn't even on my mind. I mean, the only time I found out about it was when they told me I was Rookie of the Year. I mean, it was.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question with the no-hitter. You're in the 9th inning. You're on the bench. Tell everybody what goes in your mind. What's in your mind in the 9th inning of a no-hitter game, and what are the guys in the dugout doing? I know because I've been around it myself.
Well, they wouldn't even talk to me. And in the 5th inning, I told them, I says, like everybody stopped talking to me. I told them, I says, "Hey, you guys can talk to me. I know I got a no-hitter going. I'm going to get this thing."
Wow.
Yeah.
You felt it, huh? You felt it?
And in the 9th inning, when I was, in the bottom of the 8th, no, it was the top of the 9th because we were on the road. I couldn't wait to get out there for the bottom of the 9th. I couldn't wait.
Were you pumped up?
I couldn't believe the adrenaline. I mean, I was in another world. And when I got out there for the 9th, like I said, the adrenaline was pumping so much. I could have got anybody out. I could have got Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, anybody I would have got out. That's how I felt.
Well, let's talk about Lou Gehrig, the Yankees. You got the Yankee cap on over there, right?
Yeah.
Tell us the day you were in a nutshell. Tell us about the day you were traded, and where you were, and who you traded for, and what did you do when you first went to Yankee Stadium?
All right. I was with the San Diego Padres. I knew I was going to get traded to the Philadelphia Phillies or the New York Yankees. That's what I was told by the Padres, by Dick Williams. So we had to play Montreal. So we flew from San Diego to Montreal. Right. Then I got the word I'm traded to the Yankees. So now, and this is the same day, now I got to leave Montreal and fly to Anaheim to meet the Yankees.
You had to go all the way back.
I had to go all the way back. And then I was told I was pitching the next day. All right. So anyway, I beat Anaheim 6-2 that day. I struck out 7 guys, and Billy Martin said that, hey, if we had this guy from the beginning of the year, we'd be in first place.
Oh, Billy loved you.
But
Billy
anyway,
loved you. Billy loved you.
I loved Billy. I wish that never happened to Billy.
I know. Billy loved you because of the grit that you had, the way you were, your determination, and the way you carried yourself on the mound. That's what he told me. That's what he told me about nice. You.
I loved Billy. I really loved Billy. But anyway, we were on the road for 2 weeks, and I couldn't wait until we got back to New York because I wanted to put those pinstripes on.
Gotcha.
And we left Seattle like 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock at night to fly to Newark, which we landed at 6 in the morning.
Correct.
And I didn't even go to the hotel. I just drove to Yankee Stadium, and my uniform was in the locker. And I put it on, and I went out to the mound and just stood there for like 45 minutes.
Wow.
I mean, I was just in awe because I was a New York Yankee now.
Well, that was your lifelong dream, right, John? You wanted to be a Yankee.
It was my dream come true.
That's
I mean,
great,
Mickey Mantle was my idol. I mean, the 61 team. In 1960, I died because of Mazeroski's home run.
Yes.
I love the Yankees so much.
So who was your favorite? Who helped you? Who do you think was most influential as far as a pitching coach was concerned and a manager?
Who helped me the most? The Yankees did.
The Yankees did.
Yeah, the Yankees did the most. When I was with the Giants, nobody helped me over there. When I was with the Braves, they couldn't wait to get rid of me. They wouldn't even pitch me because I was going to become a free agent, and they didn't want me to have a good year. When I was with the Padres, you know what? I got to give kudos to Dick Williams. He really taught me how to pitch. You know, like don't walk people, get ahead of people, challenge people. That's what I did most of my career is challenge people.
It's a little different from yesteryear. The simple things like work fast, throw strikes, change speeds. Now it's all about, the Rapsodo system and the driveline systems and all the spin rate and all of that stuff.
Oh, I can't stand today's game. I mean, I can't even watch it. 4-hour games, starting pitchers only go 5 innings. They throw 100 pitches by the 5th inning and they're out of there.
Yeah, it's a little different game. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Last question. Are you more commonly known today being a Yankee or a Giant?
Giant.
A Giant because of what you did.
Giant. And I wish they would know me as a Yankee. I wish I was never hurt when I was traded to the Yankees, so I could have put up some numbers with them. I mean, I ended up 10-3 with them, the time I was with them, and they scored so many runs. I was never on a team that scored runs. I mean, if my hip could have held up, I could have won some games for them.
Who were some of the guys there? Ricky Henderson on that team? Was Ricky there?
Mattingly, Winfield, Baylor, that Guidry, Righetti,
right?
That group there. Yankees traded for me because they didn't have a right-handed starter. They had all left-handed starters, and they needed a right-hander. And I came there in September and won 5 games for them.
I got you.
And
Well, listen.
And they gave me $2.8 million.
That's great, man. That's great stuff. I'm glad for you. John, listen, I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming on. I know it wasn't easy for you. I know we've been going back and forth, and I really feel for you. I know you're going through a tough time there. I just want to say God bless you. God bless your family. And have a good holiday. I know you're going to be there in rehab, but, you know, do the best you can. And please, let's stay in touch, okay?
Thanks, Don. Can I say hello to my daughter?
Absolutely.
Allie is watching. I saw the post that she put on the thing. And
nice.
I wish I could see her and my grandson. And Allie's friend Alana is watching also. So hi, guys. I love you.
Thank you, Allie. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate your father's a great man. I've always had him and I have been good friends for many years, man. Even though we don't see each other a lot, you know, that baseball, you know, the baseball keeps you all together all the time.
Yeah, it does. If you ever need somebody again, call me.
Thank you, John. Good luck to you, and I'll be talking to you, okay?
Okay. Bye, Dom. You're the greatest.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well, thank you to John Montefusco. We got him on, Nick, huh?
Finally, nice conversation, too.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he was going to be our first guest, you know?
He was, but he pulled through this episode.
Yeah. So. I give him a lot of credit. You know, he said to me, I didn't know if we were going to have him on. I said to him, John, you sure you want to be on? If not, no, I promised you I'm going to do it. That's the type of people that we have here, you know? And when you're a Yankee, when you're a ball player, you all stick together. You know, all the big league guys stick together. You know, it's a great thing, great experience.
All right, I think it's time to wrap things up.
So we're going to wrap this up. Yeah, we're going to have the last of the ninth, we call it. Now, the last of the ninth, you know, is the finale of the show. You know, I try to say different things. If you haven't heard, many of the D2 conferences in basketball and winter sports have shut down their season. Of course, you know, indoor sports, everybody is very reluctant to have it, and the NCAA and many Division II schools are shutting it down. And I just want to reach out to some of the coaches from Adelphi and say, I'm so sorry to hear that. But I know I spoke to some of you and you understand what's going on. And I guess you're going to have to wait again till next year, just like we did. And I just wanted to say that, you know, it's a tough break, but it is what it is. And I guess it had to be done. So good luck on that. Also, I'd like to say something away from baseball. Condolences to the Alex Trebek family, okay? And the reason why I'm bringing up Alex Trebek is because this gentleman here, my wife and I watch him every night, either while we're having dinner or after dinner. And, you know, my wife is very good at Jeopardy. I got to say, me, I don't get too many right, but my wife is a very, very smart person, and she gets a lot of these things. But I just want to say, he died doing something that he loved. I mean, he never stopped. He never stopped working. He worked up until his last dying breath. And I got to say, that's a big, I want to give big kudos to him. And of course, to his family, condolences to his family. And we're going to miss him. We're going to miss Alex Trebek.
His last week of shows is this coming week.
Yes, exactly.
Or this week now. Up until Christmas, you'll see his last shows that he taped before he passed.
Exactly, and it's going to be a sad week for all of us.
It looks like when we had trivia time, you had one other person who answered correctly.
Yes.
And that is Larry Vidge, also said DJ LeMahieu, but he didn't answer first. So
okay, well, Larry already has my book. I think he already. And speaking of Larry Viggiano, is my nephew and one of the smartest people that I know. And there's Larry up there. Him and I play golf a lot. We just happened to play a couple of weeks ago for the last time for 2020. And he wrote this book, and he did it out of passion, okay? He wrote this book because he's very passionate about basketball. And he's a very analytical kid. He's a troubleshooter. He's he's in the finance business. And like I said, he didn't do it for the money, although the money that he makes is going to refurbish New York City playgrounds and basketball courts. And I think that that's a great thing that he's trying to do. So I just wanted to bring it up as you can see, the name of the book is 2-3. And you'll see LeBron James and Michael Jordan. Who's the best? That's what this book is about. And there's some other interesting things in here also that, like I said, it's not as easy as you think, like by saying, oh, he's the best because he dribbles the ball better, or he shoots the ball better, or he passes better. But it's an analytical look on who he feels, and by analytics, the way we go today on a lot of stuff, okay, on who is the best player of all time. The GOAT, the greatest of all time. And I want you to, it's on Amazon. Try to pick it up, people. It's a really, really great book. Larry, good luck to you with that. With that, Nick, that's our Christmas show.
That's our Christmas
holiday show.
That's it.
I had a great time. Did you have a great time, Nick?
This was great. Yeah, everything went smoothly so far. I mean, anything can happen in the next 3 minutes, but.
Okay, well, we're going to wrap it up, and I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and a Happy Hanukkah, of course. And I hope everybody, you know, we're going to go into 2021. There's a lot of good things that I foresee for 2021. We got to get 2020 behind us, okay? But I just want to say thank you for joining us. Our next show is going to be on January 21st. And we don't have the guest yet, but I have an idea of who we're going to have. And believe me, if these two people are they're going to give me their answer in a couple of days. If they come on, it's going to be another great show. Everybody's going to have a great time. So thank you very much, and stay safe out there.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays. Happy New Year.